What's indeed going on, Jerome's? It is an absolutely beautiful, gorgeous Saturday here in the great state of Minnesota. We got our youngest kid's birthday, a little Easy. Easy's fantastic, man. He's my favorite. But turned 1, and he's delightful. Well, he's delightful during the day. Let's say that. So happy birthday to my youngest. And getting into our Vikings news dump for the day. So Handgate is now upon us. So quarterbacks are weighing in and throwing and doing drills today. And, of course, the major one for quarterbacks is hand size, right? And it's not directly correlated, but the logic is the larger the hands, the more you can control the ball, especially in cold weather. It's kind of important, right? Bert Favre famously had giant hands. Same thing with Johnny Manziel. So, again, maybe hand size isn't correlated with, I don't know, production. Anyways, or other things. But Charles Robinson, Yahoo! So two numbers stood out. So J.J. McCarthy checking in at 9, as well as Drake May checking in at 9 and an eighth. Now, this isn't like the Kenny Pickett year where everyone knew that he had small hands, smells like cabbage because of him wearing gloves. But, of course, this brings us back to Dante Culpepper. 9.5-inch hands, which is actually not that small. But Dante, notably during his career, had issues fumbling the ball, and it was always attributed to his hands. Isn't like a 1-for-1 directly correlated with the hands, but it's kind of funny. But, of course, J.J. McCarthy, which, I don't know, like I completely forgot that J.J. McCarthy had the broccoli ramen hair that all the kids have nowadays. He probably says bussin', no cap. He probably thinks he has Riz with that haircut. Well, please. But everyone's small hand smells like cabbage. Now, again, this isn't the be-all, end-all, because notably Joe Burrow also clocked in at 9-inch hands, turned out pretty good. Jared Goff, hey, I was told by Lions fan that Jared Goff is the truth. So he also has 9. But going through this list, Andrew Luck at 10, Stafford at 10, blah, 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 blah. I believe Mahomes has 9.25. There you go. Michael Vick at 8.5. I feel like no one talked about that. Anyways, but Michael Vick in his prime was fantastic. Also, when Michael Vick was with the Eagles with Andy Reid, I mean, was it 2010, 2011? That was a fun year. It was really good, man. But yeah, I know that people make a big deal of it. I know that some people may downgrade McCarthy, and especially May in the draft process, but nah, it'll be fine. Something's also fine. Something I love about the Combine is that they got these random quotes. And so this one is great. Drake, Josine Anderson, who's fantastic, works over at CBS, on set with Spielman and Drake May. UNC quarterback Drake May on why a GM should pick him. Quote, I think I can do it all. I love ball, and I'm a winner. You don't want to game plan for me. You'll game plan with me. Or you'll want to game plan with me, whichever. But so there's a fine line between being just overly cocky and just being confident, and I think this is the latter. And also, I know that Caleb Williams gets ragged on a lot for being overly cocky. I think it is confidence. I mean, he's a weird dude. Well, let's start off with that. And yeah, there's always rumors about, well, his dad wants ownership of the team and equity, blah 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 blah. But no, I love competitive fire with your quarterback. I want a guy who's cocksure about himself, and Drake May is certainly that. Even though small hands smells like cabbage. But the best one, this is my favorite one. So Ryan Dunleavy. Could Rome Odunze, great Mike Evans-style receiver from Washington, Michael Penix's number 1 target, land a plane in case of emergency? Absolutely not. We're going down. All souls have perished. It was great. Now, this is also what happens too. So the Combine, the NFL has done a great job opening up the Combine because before it was just like traditional media and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like maybe there's been too much of an influx. Again, I'm not going to hate on my non-traditional media brethren, but I mean, some of these questions, especially the first question that Caleb Williams got, I mean, you have to keep it together, otherwise you're going to ruin it for everyone, sort of situation, right? But I love it. Now, his Madden awareness rating just went up for when he ends up in the NFL, man, because he knows that he can't fly a plane. Kind of like that, man. But his wingspan, about the size of a plane. Or like a small plane, like a Cessna or something like that. Someone on Reddit pointed out that, hey, is Kellen Mond throwing at the combine. Now, what happens is that you see in these drills, like the tight end gauntlet drill, where you have 7, 8 different throwers chucking balls at the tight ends. You need arms for that. Now, generally, it's sometimes the lower end of the lower end of the combine spectrum quarterbacks or guys that could be undrafted, just trying to show a little something. But also, it's sometimes they snag local guys. Sometimes they snag quarterbacks who are looking for jobs, and that's exactly what Kellen Mond is doing here. And no fault, no muss, no fuss about it, man. And Mond, former third-round pick, number 66 overall. Back in the day, it didn't work out with the Zimmer regime. Famously, I don't need to see Mond because I see him practice every day. And obviously, it didn't work out with Kevin O'Connell and company as they let go of Mond after one training camp. Then they traded for Nick Mullins. Now, Mond did find a home with Cleveland for a hot second, but then he lost out to DTR last training camp, spent the season on the Colts practice squad, and now is a free agent. So, looking to find some work. I got no animosity towards him. Hopefully, things work out. And I just think it could work. The whole mama I can change him situation. Then we get to Kirk Cousins. So the hypocrisy of the way that the media has approached the Kirk Cousins situation is really stunning, right? So just seen Diana Rossini of The Athletic put this out today. Over the next month, I'm keeping an eye on the Falcons with Kirk Cousins. They believe Cousins is the type of player who moves them from fringe playoff team to a contender. New Atlanta head coach Raheem Morris and offensive coordinator Zach Robinson both have familiarity with Cousins. Knowing this could be a seamless transition for Cousins and the talented young group of players across their roster. I expect the Falcons to compete for the rights to his contract. It makes all the sense in the world. Where all the media is just completely falling all over themselves. Like, oh, Kirk Cousins is a missing piece for the Falcons, and they could go on a Super Bowl run. But Kirk on the Vikings, overpaid loser, stat stuffer, only won one playoff game. Have you seen his Monday Night Football record? Blah, 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 blah. Even though the Vikings clearly have a better roster than the Falcons. They have better playmakers outside of Bijan. They have better pieces on defense, even though the Falcons' defense is pretty damn good. And also, he has familiarity with Raheem Morris because they spent time together in Washington, as well as Zach Robinson is from the Sean McVay tree. Kevin O'Connell is both those things. And Kevin O'Connell and Kirk have had great production over the last 2 years before Kirk got hurt. So, again, just the hatred that the media have for the Vikings, the bias, the always putting the thumb down on the scale, it's ridiculous. It's so hypocritical. It's transparent. Everyone knows it, but everyone just accepts it. All right, so it's just frustrating, man. It is. Some would be hilarious, though. The Purple Persuasion put this together. According to Ben Standig of The Athletic, Kirk Cousins would return back to Washington if the Commanders would want to go to the veteran quarterback route and trade back. So Washington has the number 2 overall pick. They have a ton of cap space, second most in the league now behind the Patriots. But I don't know, could Kirk go back to Washington? Quote, despite the tumultuous first stint, don't worry about whether the 2012 fourth-round pick would return to Washington. He's open to it based on conversations with league sources in recent years. So Kirk's talked about return to Washington the last couple of years. Mr. Cousins goes to Washington, please. The money isn't an issue. Money's always an issue. Even if a 2-year mostly guaranteed contract is around $80 million. Add void years, spread the cap charges, perhaps go higher in 2024, considering the significant cap space, and then a lower figure in 2025. Now, with Washington at 2, you think you'd just be better off sticking and picking and taking May, taking Daniels, taking whoever. But, I mean, if they just want to go that route and try and be competitive right away with DQ and company, I mean, maybe. And it would be hilarious. Where I feel like Washington fans, like, they're kind of mixed. Like, I feel like they're almost exactly like Vikings fans, where a segment is fully in and a segment is fully out. All right, so, but it would just be hilarious where the only place where he never got a long-term deal was Washington. And then to go back and sign a, say a 2-year fully guaranteed deal with the new regime, that'd be just hilarious, man. It'd be great. Lastly, so with the Vikings releasing Alexander Mattison, there's a power vacuum in the running back room. Ty Chandler looks to be a factor there, probably be the RB1. But Cam Akers, who came over from the Rams last year in a midseason trade, I love Cam Akers, man. He was highly productive last year, too, before he popped his other Achilles. So now he's still youngish as a running back, but two torn Achilles. Yeah. All right. So he posted a picture on the gram with him and Vikings owner Ziggy Wilf with a time clock emoji, which I don't know. Like, I would consider bringing Akers back, but it wouldn't be right away, and it would be league minimum, nothing guaranteed. Just compete in training camp, and I would want to make sure that medically he's completely clear. So that's why I wouldn't even sign him when. Right now, because the Vikings, since he has his expiring contract, the Vikings could just sign him right now. But I say just wait until he proves that he's 100%, whether that's training camp or even into the season and as a tryout basis, because I think he's talented, but I'm not going to save a roster spot for him. I'm not going to give him any guaranteed money. And if he proves that he's healthy and can carry the load, sure. I mean, he's a guy to root for. So there you go. But that is it. So Vikings news up for this beautiful Saturday. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol, production value.